Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Lowry at Home. I'm your host, Naturalist Kirk. Welcome to the winter season of Lowry at Home. I know there's still green behind me and there's no snow on the ground yet, but don't worry, it'll be coming soon. Now, when I think of winter, of course, I think of Mr. Brett. Mr. Brett is a huge fan of winter, and so we're kicking things off here in the winter show with Mr. Brett talking about Diapause, and he's going to tell you more about what that word means and what it is. So take it away, Mr. Brett.
Hey everyone, it is Brett out here at the Lowry Nature Center. Now, with the onset of fall and really on the doorstep of winter, there is one thing that I do think people enjoy about winter that's probably universal. No bugs. If you are outside in the summertime, and that's pretty much all of us, you know, mosquitoes, gnats, other insect-like creatures, ticks, all of those things are everywhere in the summertime, and most of us really don't care for them. Now that we've gotten cold enough where the ice is starting to show up on lakes, a lot of the insects have died, and you're like, woohoo! No more mosquitoes! Yes! 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 But you're like, whoa, hit the pause button, Mr. Brett. I've got insects coming into my house. Insects like ladybugs, insects like box elder bugs, insects like houseflies. What are they doing in my house? Well, the short answer is, well, it's warm. So that's why they're in your house. Long answer is some of them are probably getting ready to enter a stage called diapause. You're like, who now what? Diapause, the pause. A temporary halt on their life cycle. Now, what causes this are changes in the outdoors. The two of the biggest ones, temperature. As temperature starts to change and in a pattern that is consistent, animals will adapt. More so though, it's sunlight. You all know we don't have a lot of sunlight right now. We're 3 weeks away from the start of winter, and the shortest day of the year. All right, so there's not as much sunlight out and about. Most animals adapt to that. The animals that hibernate, the animals that migrate, the insects that are just going to die, all of them are picking up on the changes in light, and that's often what's driving the insects who are going to enter diapause. Now, I found one here, and I want to share it with you. All right, so this is a stink bug, sometimes called a shield bug. Funny thing, it was green. Now that it's wintertime, its body has morphed into more of a brown color to help it camouflage amongst the leaves on the forest floor. Now you'll notice it's moving. This insect has kind of somewhat started into diapause on a day where it's warmer. And of course, now that it's on my hand, its body's become sensitive to the heat and it is moving around a little bit. But as insects like this one get ready to enter into diapause, some cool things start happening on the inside. Their body starts producing or collecting more so the lipids, the proteins, and the carbohydrates. You're like, well, Mr. Brett, I know what proteins and carbohydrates are. What on earth are lipids? Well, they're fats. Their body starts storing more of this stuff, and the fats are super important. They help with water retention so that this little thing doesn't dry out and become dehydrated and die in the wintertime, but it also helps with the lowering of the freezing point of its body, meaning it can be underneath the leaves on the forest floor in freezing temperatures and not freeze and die. Crazy. Now, at that point, once it has those stored up and the temperatures drop down low enough, it does go into diapause. Again, that temporary halt of its life cycle. Now, as it's in diapause, there are little sensors that are picking up stimuli in changes in the environment. Now, often the insect, if it has been in diapause long enough, it will not adapt and or react to the stimuli super quickly. However, enough of the change in certain stimuli, again, like temperature, like light, will then slowly bring this insect, I guess we can say, somewhat back to life. Because in diapause, there isn't a whole lot going on. It's not dead, it just kind of looks dead. But once those stimuli change enough, it'll start moving around. This thing will go back to green, and it'll be back up and moving around. So there you have it. You have these insects that have come up with a way to, again, survive the harsh winter conditions here in Minnesota. Not by migrating, not really even by hibernating, because this is different than hibernating. They basically take a break. They take a pause. But inside their teeny tiny little bodies, all those crazy things, like I talked about, with the fats and the carbohydrates and the proteins and just how it changes the chemical makeup enough so that it can survive winter. But then as the environment around it changes, as the temperatures come back, as the daylight comes back, it slowly comes back to life itself, continues on with its life cycle, and goes on with its life. I hope you learned something today. Think about that again on these dark, cold winter nights where to us as people it often seems like, wow, how on earth could life ever even continue outside of this nice, neat little warm house that I'm sitting in? It does, and it has been for a super long time.
Oh, that was great, Mr. Brett. We got one of your fans right here. And thanks for telling us all about Diapause. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. We hope you had a good time, and we'll see you next week, next Monday, for more Lowry at Home.